We got Diego Pacheco getting in the ring with Steve Nelson this weekend.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah. This weekend.
Yeah.
Listen, this is an interesting fight to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got young Diego Pacheco who has had some resistance recently. Not a lot, but I feel just enough for a fight like this. Mm-hmm. This is, to me, when we talk about step-up fights and stuff like that, to me, this is a true step-up fight where you're trying to build a fighter. You want to get him better competition, but you're not putting him in danger. Nonetheless, you putting him, for the second words, like...
in some danger.
Yeah. I like, how do you say it? Like, some danger. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find a better way to say it. But
Miguel Cotto fought Ricardo Torres, the undefeated Colombian. He was actually a late replacement. Point I'm making is Ricardo Torres, he was undefeated, like Steve Nelson. It's not the step up, we're going to put you in there with Zab Judah and Sugar Shane now. But we are going to put you in there with an undefeated guy who's hungry, who really thinks he's going to win and is really coming to win.
Yeah.
So it is a step up. Is it him fighting Canelo? Is it him fighting, Benavidez or Morel if they were still around 160, or Caleb Plant?
Right.
Or no, but he's fighting a guy who doesn't know how to lose, who's been knocking on the door in his own career waiting for this kind of opportunity to get to a title fight as well. So it is some danger for sure.
And Steve Nelson is 36, but he don't have the wear and tear of 36. I think he spent a little time behind the bars a little bit, but he's been in the Crawford camp, I think, forever. Number 13 in the WBO rankings. Pacheco's number 1. It could be a good night of boxing, man.
This main event is going to be a really good boxing match. I see some true resistance coming from Steve Nelson. Yeah. He's a thinker. He's methodical. He's 36. He has a punch at 168. A 36-year-old man who has a punch.
Old man strength. Is that old man strength?
I ain't gonna call it old man
because we can't call him old. We just said.
But the other side of that is he's not slow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he ain't. So this is gonna be a good fight.
5'10" versus 6'4".
Yeah.
And that's what this fight's all about, is the distance.
Yeah.
And if Nelson can navigate and get mid to close range, he's in business. Mm-hmm. He can get some good work.
Nelson has to be does Shawn Porter footwork this fight? Move, get inside.
I haven't seen that level of athleticism and footwork from him. Far in his
right.
But
and Pacheco's a lot like Benavidez, where he's kind of, just upright, right in your face, not really a big mover, a pivoter or anything like that. The fight could happen right there in the middle of the ring.
That'll be exciting night.
Where Pacheco's kind of like trying to push him back, a lot like a Benavidez could and would do. But the other side of that is Steve does have the ability to match speed for speed, possibly more power. And I'm only saying that because he's 36 and we're looking at a Pacheco who's 23. Mm-hmm. I like it.
So
whoever can win this fight fighting off the back foot, or you can't go back.
Pacheco could win this fight off the back foot.
Yeah, both guys can.
And
both guys can. Yeah.
I actually feel like I'm interested. You mentioned how Pacheco fights like Benavidez, trained by his father.
Similar.
Similar. Right.
It's kind of a Mozzie and Arrow thing where you could say, but he's his own guy,
Should he be doing that? Or because he's built like Tommy Hearns and not like David Benavidez, should he be trying to fight more like a Tommy Hearns?
Well, the funny thing about that is you got a tall Mexican fighter, and most Mexicans do have that straightforward style.
Like to exchange.
Yeah, movement isn't something you see a lot coming from Mexicans, which is why Morales I was and I'm still big on Morales. What's his first name?
Eric El Terrible.
No. The young kid that my dad had for a second.
Oh,
Victor.
Victor. Yes, Victor Morales, a Mexican
who
this kid could use the ring, and I'm like, yeah, you don't see this too often from Mexicans. So I don't know if Dad Benavidez has the ability to teach that sort of style. And not that Tommy was a big mover, but Tommy certainly knew how to use a jab, either take a step back or a jab and step into that thing, you know?
Right.
So you're right. I think that he needs to use his height a little bit more, but also not be as erect and upright, you know, have a little bit more bend. And
it's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, yep, fine line between that. So is he really 6'4"?
Yeah. He might be 6'3".
He's a
He's
tall kid.
He's tall. Like,
tall kid.
It says 6'1".
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, tall kid.
But I asked that too because, like you said, he's a Mexican kid from South Central LA. So part of his temperament is let's go, let's fight,
violence,
let's
Violence.
rumble, right? Yeah. And I even asked him, I'm like, you know, do you feel like you could win some of these fights easy just off the jab and the jab in the right hand and turning the guy? And he's like, yeah, but I get kind of bored doing that, right? And well, you might make a fight like this easier on yourself. Just mainly fighting at the long range, at the distance.
Any fighter that would tell me that they get bored of doing something that they should do, get bored of doing something that is effective, they're good with it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, keep doing it because eventually you're gonna need that. And if you get bored of it and you just put that all away, you know, I'm gonna keep this in my back pocket. It ain't even in your pocket at all because you've taken it completely out of the game. Shoo.
I knew you were gonna say, yeah.
You know, you know, we haven't seen Shoo with a sharp, that laser jab.
Dominant jab.
Yeah.
The guy
in a little while.
He's been giving us knockouts.
Yeah.
He's been doing the pull counter game beautifully.
Yeah.
But don't take that element away because eventually when you're able to bring it all together, now you're pound for pound. Now you're one of the best fighters in the world. So I feel like, yeah, Diego, you could probably you're younger and still bigger, and you could probably beat Nelson toe to toe, but it could be a hellacious night, and you might make it a lot easier on yourself using the jab, and you might be able to dominate a good fighter in Steve Nelson. If you try to go to war with Nelson, you're kind of giving him his best chance at winning this fight.
And they'll show on his face after the fight.
Yeah. Even if you win, you might get marked up. Yeah. And what Pacheco, I'm sure, is looking to show is, hey, I'm not just some kid who's number one for Canelo's belt. I'm a boy becoming a man. I can go with the Canelos, with whoever.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way he proves that is by being dominant. And what'll help him maybe be dominant in this fight is really using all of that 6'4" frame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm overestimating Steven, thinking that he's going to be a bit of a puzzle on fight night. I do believe that he's going to be a bit of a puzzle. This 23-year-old kid is very, very good. Not yet ready for the Caleb Plant, some of those other names right there at 168, but certainly should be ready for Steve. I think the main thing we'll see in the Diego Pacheco winning this fight, we'll see how mature he is at this point in his career. 22 fights at 23 years old, so.
That Sean McCalman fight should be big for him. That you guys were at last April when he fought our fellow Sean. And it was a dude kind of similar build to Steve Nelson.
Right.
So I think that experience is going to help him in this fight.
Exactly.
You think Bomac will have trots for the young man?
Yes.
I want to see what Bomac brings to the ring with Steve Nelson for this fight.
And this is why I always say that you're closer to your prime at 34, 35, 36 years old than you are at 23, 24, 25, whatever people think it is now. I think people think, what do you think, 25, 26 now?
I go with the Bill Simmons, the NBA. He says the true prime is 27 to 30.
Yeah.
I think that's about right.
I don't think so. Right, I think the true prime is 30 to 35.
Because this has to match this, right?
That has to match that.
But I think you got all of this at 27, 28, 29 still. Yeah, and I think that's come a long way at that age.
At 30?
Yes.
Yeah. 30,
I'm about 31.
Yeah.
So 30 is when it starts to take a curve, where it really starts to take a curve and you kind of become who you're going to be forever at that point. The thing is, a lot of times the wear and tear of doing it forever ago
has to be
why it doesn't. A lot of times why it doesn't always even itself out. So,
life has to be perfect in this sport. Every sport almost.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying that to say you're getting a Steve Nelson who's going to be able to think, who's going to be able to remain calm and things of that nature, simply because of the maturity, you know. And we're going to see how mature Diego is.
What's the percentage on the fight?
On this fight?
Yeah, 60-40.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
I like 60.
I'm more 70-30, 75-25.
I get it. I
No
get it.
disrespect to Nelson.
80-20, you going to keep going? 80-20, you going to keep going?
We'll settle on 75-25.
What do you think? So you think Pacheco's probably just going to outwork him?
I definitely think Pacheco's going to win. It's the way he goes. If he doesn't make the most of his distance control, then he'll probably win 6-4, 7-3, get nicked up. It'll be a very good competitive fight. But if he makes the most of his height and his jab and is very sharp on the outside, he can open people's eyes up with what he could do in this fight.
Traps in the game in boxing are really small. Like you hardly see what's happening, you know? The outsiders, most outsiders. Sometimes I can see it. Most times I can't actually. So when you say, do I think he's gonna have some traps for him? Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what I'm thinking about, Mac.
If we see him sliding back on that back foot a little bit,
boom.
Sorry,
he's getting him to give up his range, and
that's a trap.
Yeah,
that's a trap. You know,
hey, you're snitching.
I know.
Bo-Mac, that was Porter.
Big thing.
That's any fighter. Any fighter sliding back. It's a trap.
Big thing in Nelson's favor too is that Pacheco is still a little light in the ass.
Yeah,
he's not physically super developed, and so if he gets into a barn burner. That grown man might give it to him. We'll see.
Sound like we got a good night of boxing. Man.
And then we got Cruz on the undercard against Salcido.
Yeah.
That should be a good boxing match.
I saw Salcido was working in the gym right before Pacheco had his workout a couple days ago. He hits hard.
Yeah.
He's from Mexico. He punches hard. Sometimes that's enough to deter a great amateur who's still cutting his teeth and learning how to truly be a professional. So we'll see. It should be interesting.
Cruz don't carry power, right? Am I tripping?
He got a sting.
The speed is a power.
Cruz can sting. Yeah.
Sharp.
Sharp puncher. Not a heavy puncher.
Tell you all the time, it ain't just about how heavy the punch is. It's where that punch landing at, and he got that. But there's a big speed gap between the two of them. There's a big mobility gap. Salcido can move his feet, but Cruz is gonna move him into some stuff,
Yeah.
So I think it's different. What I'm saying is
Cruz got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, it's like the dance is different with Cruz than it is. Salcido's 1-2, 1-2, and Cruz is everywhere.
Salsa.
Yeah, Cruz is salsa dancing. So we got country. That's country dance against salsa.
A little chunti, little chunti. That's like, I think that's Mexican cowboy music, I believe. Yeah.
So that should be a really good night of boxing. I guess we're gonna make it happen.
We'll talk about it.